Hey everybody, welcome to Home Recording Made Easy and Plugin Review Friday, where every Friday I show you a new plugin, we walk through its feature set, and I show you how to apply it to a mix so you can make professional sounding mixes in your home studio. Okay, before we get started, if you like what you see in this video, please consider subscribing and make sure you hit that notification bell, and also make sure you stick around till the end of the video because I have a few free gifts I want to give you that is absolutely going to help you make better music in your home studio. So stick around. Okay, everybody, welcome. So this week on Plugin Review Friday, we are going to take a look at something I think is very cool. And this plugin's been out for a while. I just got turned on to it maybe a couple of weeks ago. I forget, someone sent it. I think one of my students over at mixingmadeeasy.net asked me about it and I checked it out. And this is a very cool plugin. This is by the company Sound Theory, and the name of the plugin is the Guilfoss EQ. It's an intelligent-based EQ. And what does that really mean? Well, it's a simple EQ that kind of under the hood has a lot of complex algorithms and stuff going on, where basically the EQ reacts to what's being played into it. So for example, compared to like a regular stock or standard static EQ, you have an EQ and let's say you boost 3 dB at 100 Hertz. Well, no matter what material is playing into that EQ, no matter where you put it in your mix, it's going to boost 100 Hertz at 3 dB. Pretty simple, right? What's interesting and what's unique about the Guilfoss is you don't set a particular EQ point like that. You use a few simple controls, which I'm going to show you. And what it does is it, based on the program material coming into the EQ, it does somewhere around 300 or 400 different changes under the hood per second and adjusts the frequencies as the program material is playing into it. And instead of me trying to explain it from a technical standpoint, I suggest you go out to the Sound Theory website, and they have a nice little video on their website that shows you or kind of explains in a little more detail exactly what goes in under the hood. And I'll leave the description in the description box below. But basically what this means is anything you put this thing on, it makes it sound better. Now, they say that it's really meant to be kind of played or put on the master bus, because the more program information that's going into the EQ, the more it kind of reacts and the more it kind of gives you a more pleasing result. Although you can use it on buses like a drum bus or a vocal bus. You can even use it on individual tracks. Well, we're going to use it today on the master bus because this is where I think you can hear the biggest difference. So basically it's a simple layout here. I have this on my master bus. And this has 4 or 5 controls here along the top. This is how you use it. So you have this control called recovery. And what recovery does is it boosts any of the masked frequencies that the plugin kind of detects as it's listening to the audio. So as you kind of scroll this up by percentage, you can see as I scroll this up, it's kind of boosting the low end, and the top end you can see, and as I pull this down, you can see it kind of going down to 0. It kind of flattens everything out. So it listens in real time to the audio and just doesn't boost it up, let's see, 12 dB at 40 or 50 Hertz. It actually will move in real time, and it will, depending on what's being played in, it'll make those adjustments. And they say on the website, a good place to start, if you want to know where to start, is around 50% on the recovery. Now the tame does the exact opposite. The tame reduces any of the dominating frequency elements. So in other words, in this again, if you go up to say, this will go up, I think, to 200%. Again, it's going to tame any of the frequencies that might be poking out too much. And again, you can see how the curve kind of moves here as it go down to 0. Okay, and again, we can start around 50% on this, and then you can kind of adjust from there. We have the bias. Now what the bias does, and let me step back for a second too. You can also see that as I move the recover up on the left-hand side here where my cursor is, you'll see this little the little meter, how it's favoring the low end. You can see that. And as I pull this down, you can see how it kind of goes more towards the center. Okay. And the same thing with the tame. If you look at the tame, as I'm pulling it up to say 200%, you can see down here in the center of the plugin, this little white line, you can see that it's actually taming frequencies more towards the left here. And as I boost this up, pull this down, to 0, it's going more back towards the center, okay? And again, they explain this in a lot more technical detail on their website, but I want you to hear it. The bias here, it really allows you to lean towards, as you push the bias to a positive value, it's going to more favor the recovery setting. As you pull it down to a negative number, it's going to favor more of the tame setting, if that makes sense. And again, this is all listening to everything in real time and making all these crazy adjustments under the hood, which is kind of wild. Okay, so we could start this off at 0 for now. We'll play with it. Now the brighten is just that, as you can brighten your mix or dull your mix down, depending if it feels a little too bright. Like, so you can see it turning it up, turning it down. You can see the curve. And again, that kind of correlates to these little meters on the bottom here. Okay, so again, we'll start this at 0, and then if you feel that when you're using the recovery and the tame, that maybe the mix is a little too bright or not bright enough, you can make an adjustment. And these kind of settings kind of work in tandem together, the recovery, the tame, the brighten, and the bias. The one thing that's on its own here is the boost. Now the boost kind of acts like, if you can think of like a loudness button on like an old hi-fi stereo system, where at lower volumes, you can still retain that bass. A loudness button in a car stereo or in a home hi-fi system from way back in the day, as you kind of turn down the volume, it'll retain the low end, okay? Whereas you crank up the volume, obviously you'll hear the low end a lot more. And you can this is just a simple bass boost, but it works completely independent from these recovery and tame switches. And then we have a bypass switch here, and then we have a meter here where you can also adjust the output gain. And what I found is even by boosting or cutting things, it doesn't seem to change the overall volume. It just changed the EQ shape. Okay, so let's listen to this. Again, I kind of screwed up the settings. This is a mix that's completely done at this point, although now I've changed some of the settings. And I want you to kind of listen to what this does. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start this at 50-50. I'm going to keep it in bypass mode. We're going to play a little part of this mix, and then I'm going to turn it on, and you can kind of just hear what it does. And then we'll make some adjustments to some of the controls. So here we go. Oh, this is a song by Robert John and the Wreck called Gypsy is the name of the tune. Cool, kind of classic rock, 70s vibe kind of a thing. Here we go. So you can hear how it instantly gets a lot more present. There's a lot more clarity that goes on there. So now let's start adjusting some of the settings and kind of get it more dialed in. So let's listen to it a bit. I'm going to turn up the volume a little bit more here. Hopefully don't blow out the video. So you can kind of see as we play back the audio how the frequencies are kind of adjusting on the fly and making those corrections under the hood, which is really cool. And again, just by turning up the bias, it's favoring more of the recovery, where it's giving a little bit more of a low end boost to it. As I kind of turn this down, that'll change, it'll favor one or the other. So you kind of work these things in tandem with each other. Now, what they also say on the Sound Theory website is that you want to kind of do this in a subtle way. You don't want to maybe, swing these things, jack these things up as much as possible, because a little goes a long way. You want to be careful that you don't overdo it. But you can hear that putting it on the master bus, towards the end of a mix, although I guess you can mix into this. I put this on at the end of the mix. You get a mix that's a little dull, maybe doesn't pop enough. This will kind of clean up some of that stuff, which is really cool. Let's also just adjust the brightness and the boost button. I'll let you hear what that does.
Gypsy
So it instantly just cleans up everything, which is very, very cool. What I love about this plugin is that it just makes everything sound better. It kind of puts that finishing sheen on things. It kind of cleans up some of the frequencies that you don't want. It kind of enhances some of the frequencies that you do want. And just by messing around with these few simple controls, you can really make a significant difference in your mix. So you have a mix that's a little bit muddy, a little bit too dark sounding. You can throw this on here, boost a little bit of brightness, maybe pull down some of the recovery, up the tame a little bit, and you can kind of shift in a gentle way the way the audio sounds. And what's really cool about it is it's all done intelligently. It's in real time. It's not static, which is very cool. This is one of these plugins where, surprisingly enough, the little that I've played with it, and I did play with it on a couple of different mixes, I really couldn't make it sound bad. Now, you can overdo it, and you have to be careful about that. But I would encourage you to go check this out. This is really cool. I can't imagine doing a mix without this on there again, even in a very subtle way. Putting it on the mix bus really, really does make a difference, and it'll be interesting to experiment with it, maybe on a drum bus and a guitar bus and on a vocal bus with groupings of single tracks going to a bus. You can use it there too, but again, they recommend on the master bus is probably where it'll be most effective. And as you also heard, when I bypass the plugin, it doesn't change the audio level, which is really weird. It's boosting frequencies and cutting frequencies. You would think you would hear a volume shift. You don't. You just hear a tonal shift. Very, very cool plugin. You can demo this, I think, for 2 weeks on their website. I would encourage you to go check this out. This is one of those kind of utility plugins. Again, there's a few of them we do on this channel where we use phase correction tools and, things, vocal writer by Waves, automation tools, and things that, you don't necessarily need to have on every single mix, although this one I think is cool, but things that'll just help enhance what you're doing. This is one of those EQs, and this is a very, very cool thing. So once again, we'll bring it back to the beginning. We'll start in bypass mode. And again, I can dial this in a little bit better than this, but here's just kind of what it does. And listen to the volume. It doesn't really change. It just shifts the tonal aspect of things. Very, very cool plugin. So that is our look at the Sound Theory's Guilfoss Intelligent EQ. Again, I highly recommend you go check this out. take a look at the information on their website. Look at some of the promo little videos they have there, which kind of describes in a little bit more technical detail really what's going on here and the most effective way to use it. I've only been using it for maybe a week or so. I demoed it, and after using it for 2 days, I went out and purchased it because I said, this is a hell of an EQ. I'm going to try to probably have this on every single one of my mixes. It gives it that final little sheen on there that really helps you dial in everything in from a tonal aspect. So thank you so much for joining me and watching this entire video. As I said at the beginning of the video, I want to give you a free gift. If this is your first time here at Home Recording Made Easy, I want you to go to homerecordingmadeeasy.com. I want to give you 5 free mixing training courses. It's my gift to you just for visiting homerecordingmadeeasy.com. And also I want to give you a coupon code. If you use the coupon code YouTube25, it'll come up on the screen here, YouTube25. You use that at checkout, you could take 25% off any one of my training courses at homerecordingmadeeasy.com. So check them out. Also, make sure you like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. I'm posting 2 to 3 new videos every single week, and we're doing other plugin demos such as this one, and I want to hear from you. Let me know in the comments below. Have you ever checked out this EQ? What do you think of this EQ? It's kind of got some voodoo magic happening under the hood. What do you think of it? How do you like it? Have you used it before? Do you know of any other plugins that kind of do something similar to this? I'm not aware of it. This is my first time checking this out, and I think it's really, really cool. So let me know what you think. Leave comments below, and let me know if you're using this and how you find it to be helping you with your mixes. And until the next video, I've been Dave with HomeRecordingMadeEasy.com, MixingMadeEasy.net, and I will see you in the next video. Take care, everybody.